Hey, this is Paul from online Sax Academy. Recently a pupil of mine had a question about how he could change the music he'd found online so that he could play along with a song on the saxophone. And he quickly realised that if he just read the music that he found online, his notes wouldn't match. Now you may have had this experience yourself if you're playing with friends where they try and read your music and they're playing, say, a piano or guitar, or you try and read their music and you quickly find out that it really clashes and sounds a bit weird. Now this is because the saxophone is known as a transposing instrument, and all that means is when I play a C on the saxophone, it doesn't actually sound like what we would call a concert pitch C. If we went to a piano and tried to find that note, you'd realise it's an E flat. When we play a C on the tenor saxophone, that actually sounds like a B flat on the piano. So we say that the alto sax is in E flat and we say that the tenor sax is in B flat. Now the distance between C to E flat is called a minor third. Now that means it's 3 half steps, 3 semitones away. So if you have a piece of music written for the piano and you want to play it on the saxophone, you have to move those notes down 3 half steps. So for example, if we take this tune here, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, which we're going to put in C major, so it starts on a C. Now that C, if we want to play it on the alto saxophone, if we step 3 semitones down, we end up on an A. Now there's a couple of ways you can do this. You can visualize your saxophone, and if you know your chromatic scale, you can step down that chromatic scale 3 times, so we get to B, B flat, A. If you play the piano, you could imagine jumping down the notes 3 times, going B, B flat, A. Or you can use this diagram here, where the notes are arranged going up gradually in semitones around a circle, and you end up back where you started on C. If you wanted to go 3 semitones down from C, you would step 3 places anti-clockwise. And you can see you end up on A. Now for the tenor saxophones, you have to move up 2 steps, which is called a major second. Again, you could visualize it on the saxophone, on the piano, or step 2 steps clockwise and you'll end up on the note, which in this case would be D. Now if you use this method of stepping down 3 semitones for alto or stepping up 2 semitones for tenor, you'll definitely get the right answer. But this method is kind of slow. Now to make this process faster, you can train yourself up using some flashcards where on one side of the piece of paper you write the concert pitch note and on the other side of the paper you write what that would be for the saxophone. And then it's just a case of training yourself, and you can go from one direction to the other, mix them up, pick them out and see if you can get it instantly. Just like you know, for example, that 5 times 5 is 25 and you didn't have to go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. And you can learn these 12 semitones and what the pair is. So if someone said to you, we're playing this tune in F, you know straight away on the alto, that's in D. Now you can definitely transpose like this and it's a solid way to change from one key to the other. But if you want to get a bit deeper into the piece of music that you're learning, there is actually another way you can transpose that actually reveals a bit more about whatever melody it is that you're doing. And it can also have other knock-on benefits like help with your ear and overall perception and knowledge of the scales and the music behind these melodies. So what we're going to do is take our Twinkle Twinkle Little Star melody and assign it what's called scale degrees. All this means is we have here our scale of C major, and above each note we write the numbers 1 to 7. So we can now put our numbers over the melody and we can see that the first phrase uses 1, 1, 5, 5, 6, 6, 5. Now if you know any other scales, for example F major, you can now take number 1, number 5 and number 6 from F major and create the same melody and go 1, 1, 5, 5, 6, 6, 5 in F major. And in fact you could transpose this not just down 3 semitones from C major to A major, but you could now transpose this into any of the 12 keys. Because it's not really the specific notes that make up a melody, it's the scale degrees that help create the sound of the melody. And that melody can be transposed into any of the keys. Once you know the numbers, you just plug in your scale that you know. This is also a great way to practice your scales. So I'd say if you're in more of a jam situation and someone calls a song and says, oh, we're going to do a blues in B flat, knowing that a B flat is G on alto or C on tenor sax is all the information you need if you know how to play a blues in those keys. But if you want to really get to know a melody really well, the best thing you can do is get to know what scale degrees it's using and then try playing that song not only in the key that you've transposed it into so you can play along with a recording, but also try changing it into a number of other keys, even all 12 if you wanted to. And like anything, the more you do this, the faster you'll get at it, till eventually you'll be able to take any reasonably diatonic melody and pretty easily be able to switch it into another key almost straight away. Okay, that's it for this week. If you're new here, don't forget to hit subscribe. Let me know in the comments if there is anything you're not sure about in the explanation I gave today, or if you've got any of your own insights on how you transpose. All right, I'll see you next week.